Last week, we took 35 students to Madison Middle School to the Hands-On, Minds-On event that's sponsored by ConocoPhillips, along with the Barnesville schools. And our kids, I think, I mean, that's probably twice as many kids that we had taken the year before. And so, and that was well received by them as well. They really enjoyed it. I know that there's other aspects because there's other schools there, and they get to socialize a bit, but still they're getting exposed to a lot of science in everything, because ConocoPhillips just throws all kinds of volunteers at an event like that.
My daughter volunteered and said our kids were really good.
Yep. The tip-off basketball tournament's going on right now in both of our gyms. It's going on all week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. If you have the opportunity to stop in. And our 8th grade will also take their annual trip to Tri-County, and that's set up for November 21st. I wish that Tri-County would give us more than an hour there, but that's all they seem to give us anymore. But I wish our kids could see what a viable option that is after high school. And then the last, I tried to schedule a PTO meeting during November, and it's almost impossible now that basketball started. Every opening there was a basketball game, and then Thanksgiving hit. So I've moved it to December 5th, and excited because I think we'll have a lot of people there for that. And also, along with PBL training, is our middle school librarian, Heather Ho. She's there as well, and I think she's going to be involved in our lunch program across the road. So, any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, on the Tri-County Tech piece, Jesse Ferguson's working really, really well with Kyle Poole. So I think our kids will get more and more, starting younger and younger, with tech in terms of communication and how to apply and what's there, all that kind of stuff. So you're right, we need more. I think Jesse and Kyle will make sure that happens. Before I tell you what education matters is, we got some cool things happening. Like, I'm guessing you would have been both of you would have been for sure at probably Charlotte at the Meet the Ironman night. Okay, but you saw the T-shirt cannon, right?
Yeah.
And you saw it misfire. You were there. You saw it misfire. Yeah. Well, what you did get to see, because it broke, is Mr. Prince's class took measurements, whatever they did, and they designed on our 3D computer stuff for his principal's computing class, designed a fix for that. And then they 3D printed it. Now, it had to be in 2 pieces. They had to be glued together, and unfortunately, it's probably not industrial grade stuff we're 3D printing with, and it broke on them. But they actually designed a guide that fits in there so that misfire won't happen. What you saw him with was a makeshift thing he threw together to try to make a fire a few times for people that night. But the fact that kids can do that is super cool, right? I mean, it's super, super cool that they can fix that stuff and make that thing happen. So that was neat. And Mrs. Truesdale has her miniature golf project going on. And there's, along again with Mr. Prince's class, we didn't do this on purpose, but some kids, part of her deal was for kids to have to turn in a model of their own, or their groups, and of all the models turned in, they'll narrow it down to 5, they'll build 5, okay? Some of the kids made their model on his system, and they 3D printed their model of their golf hole, down to a little mini ball and a putter, and all the it was really pretty cool. If you can see it, it's really pretty neat stuff. So that's really pretty impressive they can do that. And with that project, they went to T.H. Rogers, and Coach Messner drove the bus for him. So I spent, 1 hour I had to go in his class and lecture for him. But the kids had the goggles on. And we were talking about battlefields and trench warfare and whatever. And I'm telling you, it is so realistic. When I went through it myself, I actually put my foot on something like this, but I thought it was one of the metal spikes they were using in the 3D videos to hold down their pots when they're cooking the beans or whatever inside the trenches. You felt that close to things. Kids were able to see when we talk about no man's land and trench warfare, you duck down, you raise your head up, you shoot, you duck back down, right? In the middle is no man's land. they actually got to visualize what it would be like to run across that and try to get in the other guy's trench. So the things some of the questions, I'm not sure they learned anything because they got so wrapped up in the video. We need to learn how to make sure they actually learned it with something following the lecture or whatever, but we'll get better at that. With all that stuff going on and the engagement that comes with that, we wrote a letter to Superintendent Hoffmeister inviting her to let us be part of the Education Matters talk show. Every month or so, the state of Oklahoma OSDE runs one, and they send it out, and you can request to be part of it. So we sent them a letter that Mr. Tanner and Mrs. Hewitt helped me edit, and then the English teachers finalized it for us, and then we sent it off. So we're hoping that they'll come here, and we get to be part of that Education Matters talk show that our state of Oklahoma runs. So, and those are the kind of things with what Heather's doing in the middle school, like we'll pull all that stuff in and try to show that stuff off if we can get them to come down here. So anyway, that's the cool piece. These last two things are what we have to by law tell you every year. We'll tell you anyway, but we have to by law tell you. I gave you a little handout. On the very back of it, you should see some highlighted stuff. I believe the first thing that you see highlighted is our graduation rate and our dropout rate. These are actually 2 years ago's kids, but like on last year's kids that dropped out on us, like 2 or 3 of them, I've already given Mr. Tanner the spreadsheet, 2 or 3 of them showed up for a day or two, moved in, enrolled, brought us proof of everything, residency, the whole 9 yards, and then came for a day or two and never came back to school. And didn't transfer anywhere else that we know of because we never got records requests, so we don't have a choice but to code them as a dropout. We get a significant amount of that for a school our size, so there'll be 2 or 3 kids a year that they just go on that list because we're the last stop and they never really come, but they end up with us. And so that happens to us too much in my opinion, but it does happen. I highlighted our ACT score because I told you in an email I'd share those tonight. We're going to wait till next month when the 3 of us have stuff to share, but ours is up 2/10 of a point. Several years ago, when the state started making you test everybody, doesn't matter who they are, whether they want to test or don't want to test, you have to test them. Well, common sense says scores went down, right? So for a 4 or 5 year period, and the states are still going down, ours have started to inch back up, even though we test I'm not saying 1 or 2 kids don't miss it, but we test every kid goes to school. So that's come up a little bit. And then the remediation rate. Kids who go to school and have to take a remedial class in English, math, science, or reading, we're at 43.5%, and the state average is 39%. We're a little bit below the community group average, so the schools kind of like us in the state, we're a little bit below them in that, so that's a big thing. But those are the things that we yearly have to report to you, and our auditor wants to know that. So
that the average number of college degrees, is that just a college, or is that technical schools, or is that?
we're going to assume just college.
It's not like OSU might be, it doesn't do any of that?
If you want to look at this, there's a lot of information on this thing, and it compares unemployment rates, poverty rates with us, our community group, and then the state averages. Lots of interesting information on here that really kind of shows a pretty good picture of our community that walks through our doors for us to educate them.
I think that's a really good question because we're supposed to be getting college and career ready. So is it just college?
And that was my question.
Or-
I've got 2 of them.
Yes.
I've got one with a bachelor's degree from
Yes.
OSU IT.
Yes.
Right.
And if that's not counting, it seems like we're defeating the purpose of reporting numbers if we're.
I'm glad you said that, because both your kids were plenty intelligent enough to do well in the ACT test, so I'm not suggesting they weren't.
Yeah.
But both of them also knew they didn't have to have a score, they had to take it. That's all they had to do. They're also pretty normal high school boys. So, I'm not saying, I would never say something about that about a kid, especially with people watching on TV, if I was being critical of them. But that's a great example. They knew what the was, they knew where they were going, they knew what the result was, and that ACT score didn't mean anything to them. And they might have done very well, but a lot of kids wouldn't in that situation, but yet it gets reported on overall score. All that matters to the state of Oklahoma is, do we send kids to college? They can say what they want. They can say what they want. All that matters when you look at our test scores and how they figure them is, do you have kids going to college, and how fast are you pushing them up that ladder.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's,
if you go to any of the meetings, they're all saying we're doing it backwards.
but we will show you
We're
proof
going to have
next
plumbers
month.
one of these
Yeah.
days, then we're all going to be in
Yes,
trouble.
sir.
Yes.
And I think he's referring to that
Yes.
bottom number, that 13,
Yeah, it's like 13.
that number that, not, you didn't have it highlighted, but
Yeah.
that number of kids with degrees or whatever.
Right.
He's
But
saying,
to me, a degree is a degree, it doesn't matter whether it's
Right.
a college degree or technical degree.
They're not counted.
They're all after high school
Yeah.
education, they're
And they're
secondary
probably doing
education. Yeah,
really well.
I mean, those technical kids and stuff, they are doing a lot better sometimes than college
Oh,
graduates.
yeah, I'm going to say, since it says in college, that they're not talking about OSU IT and Tri-County, I'm going to say, or the military for that matter, they're not.
I just
doing
hate to
anything.
see, just in a lot of smaller schools, we put a lot of kids in technical schools.
Well, you got a piece of my rant, we'll save it for next month, but what our state says they want and what their test score, what our grade says they're actually looking at are polar opposites.
I think that's a battle we're gonna have to fight one these days, and
Yes.
get them to understand. We've just gotta get them ready for the second level. It doesn't matter how we get them there, we gotta get them ready for the second level.
Does the score always reflect the success of the person?
Yeah.
No.
any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Tanner, we'll move to the superintendent's report.
There's a lot going on, just across all three buildings, all three principals are super busy, changing sports. We do have a football game, a playoff game this Friday night in Vegas, and that'll be exciting to make that trip down there. As far as our plans go, we're strong, we're looking, between 900,000 and $1 million is carryover. Continue to try to move that number up. We do have several people gone to the PLTW training, which is the Project Lead the Way. And it's to be implemented in the elementary school with the pre-K through 5th grade. So it kind of teaches them coding on without a computer, actually. It's like a card game. And there's some other interesting things they're going to be bringing back, some challenges. They give a question like, there's a tiger, it's in a cage, and you have this stuff, and you got to figure out how to save it, and that's your problem. And you come up with solutions on your own. So it means pretty challenging stuff for elementary kids. Very excited to see kind of how that goes. Get that in place. Other than that, it looks like our attendance, well, I was looking back at the things there, if you look at the back page, the two back pages. Our goal is to move those numbers back to where they used to be in the 15-16 or 16-17, where over 460 kids in the elementary. We're over 400 for a little while, and we're going to be back at around 406 to 410 or 11. It sounds like around in January, try to move those other numbers. One interesting thing that happened this 9 weeks is I looked at the first quarter. We finished the first quarter since the scoreboard and had the audit, and everything went well. But one thing that kind of jumped out at me was our number of high school kids that we have enrolled right now is higher than it was last year, and our attendance rate is much better than it was last year. So it tells me the things that they're doing, our kids are liking and they're engaging in. I also noticed that last year we had 8 kids in the high school that left before the first quarter was over, and then this year we had 0 leave before the first quarter was over. So some very, very positive trends. I mean, that's early data, but hope it continues.
Elementary school, last time we talked about, thought you had the roof fixed? Pulling our own?
No, we're still diligently working at it. I think we're even down to fewer leaks than we had before. So.
Yeah, it is down.
It's better.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And since the last meeting, we did identify the 3 more cracks that we found in seams, so we were able to patch those.
Is that still under warranty?
It is still under warranty.
But we're doing that work on our own, or is that company coming back and fixing their mistakes?
Well, I've called. They came back. They've been back twice this year to work on it, but if they can't get here, we just do it. So we can try to save that. So. And that silicone, it's not gonna last forever. I mean, it dries and cracks. And I think if we're just diligent, especially watch those seams, I think we'll be able to keep it in a better state of repair.
That's all I have. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Tanner. Move to general business. Item A is the board will vote to approve or not to approve the schedule of meetings of the Nowata Board of Education for the 2020 calendar year, or table action on this item. No changes to that, is there?
So, basically, the same color.
Mondays are wrong. Except I did change that one special meeting, so I know you guys don't like special meetings on Mondays, so I changed it to what was it, Tuesday or Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay. That's the only difference.
All right. Any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the scheduled meetings for the first calendar year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Howard?
Yes.
Chester?
Yes.
Smalley? Yes. Hill?
Yes.
Bashford?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Item B, the board will vote to approve or not to approve the revisions to the 2019-2020 Nowata Classroom Teachers Association negotiated agreement or cancel this item.
So, we talked about it last time after the meeting. That one section there was not to be it wasn't to be distributed, but just remain on the list.
So I would like to know a detail of the stipends and where that money is derived from and who gets that, like how it's sorted out. That's how I would like to see it.
Okay. We need to go get that right now?
I will send you guys a copy of the negotiated agreement after these are approved, and I've incorporated all into the agreement, then I'll send you a copy. It's got all that in it, unless you want to not approve it.
You want to know how much each person gets?
Yes, I want to know how it's broke down.
Like
Because the reason
football
why,
coach,
It's all in the
assistant football
negotiated
coach.
agreement.
There is
I've
a
seen it, we've
schedule
seen that.
that's been on there for years, that as new ones are added, new extra duties, it is approved each year. It's at the end of the negotiated agreement that's online on our website and the app. So unless a new one is added, it is not part of negotiations, although the superintendent does have the ability to create a stipend as needed during the year. And I know one that was added this year was a cross-country team, but nothing else had been added. We just had a concern, once it's on there, the money can't be taken away, even if we don't fill that position. So math counts is on there, Spanish club is on there, but we do not pay that extra duty, if that helps.
There may be stipends on there like for Spanish club, and if there's no Spanish club, that just doesn't, we don't delete it, we just leave it there, we just don't pay it.
so that would be the same as this middle school counselor position. The money would just stay there. It's not being split like it's saying here.
Right.
I think what it should have said, if it were to be paid, it would be divided. Because we have had, in the past where we've shared that middle school counselor between two people. This year, and they split the money. This year, there wasn't one there. So we didn't want the monetary amount taken away, but should in the future, is probably what it should have said. If it is paid, the money would be split. But we can't remove the amount that's already been negotiated in years past just because we're not paying it this year. And it was removed, and we asked during negotiations to have it put back on there.
Okay, I think that's where my confusion laid, is because the way it was worded. I
Right.
was thinking that we're splitting this up between, 5,
Yes,
6
not
people,
like-
whatever, so it didn't make any
Right.
sense to me. So I just wanted some clarification.
It's like one TV, it's just like there.
Okay.
Good question.
No, you don't ask.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I have an extra duty assignment where it says $10 for the detention. Don't we have a person for, or is that just for high school?
What number is that?
That would be for after school.
After school.
Oh, after
Yeah.
school, okay.
Yeah. We both have detention after school as needed.
Okay.
And that was negotiated in 17, 18 for that. It just wasn't put into the,
So if a teacher says, yes, they'll do it for us, and we assign some kids, we keep track of the hours, we pay them once a month, or every pay whatever, how many hours they actually work.
Okay.
We don't use it very often.
for it all.
Or a lot.
Hopefully at all.
But it is an option.
But it is an option.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion on item B?
Make a motion to approve item B.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the revisions to the 2019-2020 Nowata Classroom Teachers as a negotiated contract.
Heller?
Yes.
Scepter?
Yes.
Smalley?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Bashford?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Is there any new business that should come before the board?
None that I know of.
If not, we'll move to active adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Heller?
Yes.
Scepter?
Yes.
Smalley?
Yes.
Hill?
Hey, look, Amber, we on. You taking all these boys? I'm with them. Maybe it's just like, get out of the way. Maybe it's sick.